Chapter 24 To the Rescue, Part 1. Alex and Kara were waiting in the parking lot outside of the police station for Eliza to arrive with her Camry. The police had offered to drive Cookie and Eric home since their parents weren't available to pick them up, but they declined since they didn't live very far away. None of them did. The four teens talked for several minutes while Alex and Kara waited, and finally, Eric blurted out,
"To hell with waiting. I need to walk."
And just like that, they all hit the road. Eliza wouldn't be happy that her daughters left without any warning. Maybe if Alex had her cell phone, they would have called, but informing their parents was not a priority. Eric knew his foster mom would have lost no sleep even if he had died. Cookie's parents didn't even know that their child had been in danger. Eliza was the only parent that knew what was going on, but Alex was upset with her for not being at the police station already. Eliza had known where they were the whole time they were being questioned by the police, yet she still wasn't there by their side after more than an hour of waiting. So if Alex's mom bit their heads off later on, she was fine with that. Let her prove she cared. But Eliza was not on Alex's mind at all while they walked through a park en route to their respective homes. They even stopped at a play area and sat on the swings somberly while reliving the day and examining each scary moment. The conversation didn't get very far before they had to face the elephant in the room, that the three friends were lying to the non-friend in their midst, trying to keep their secrets, even while the truth was collapsing around them. It was like trying to argue that Earth was flat to someone who had just entered orbit. Oh, they tried to keep Kara's powers hush-hush, avoiding the topic as much as possible, but inevitably, Cookie insisted on the answers. Eric had perfected the image of a shy boy who just wouldn't talk, and Kara had learned long ago to let Alex handle the deceptive part of their lives, so Alex kind of winged it as the designated liar. "That's the story you're going with?" Cookie asked, more than skeptically. She seemed insulted. "You are telling me that Kara stole a motorcycle and then chased the van until it was forced to stop, and then she wiped out in the woods to avoid detection?" Kara looked at Alex, who answered for her. "Well, sure. What's so hard to believe about that?" "Seriously? Did the cops really let you get away with that crap? There are so many holes." Cookie sighed and shook her head. Then she started counting the problems with Alex's story on her fingers. "I just can't imagine Kara riding a hog, much less hot-wiring one. How did she avoid detection that whole time? The van has mirrors, you know, and motorcycles are conspicuous. How did you know she would be in the woods when you didn't even know about said motorcycle? Why were her clothes destroyed, but she wasn't even scratched? And why did you yell out to Kara when Lex fired that ray gun thing into the sky?" Damn, thought Alex. Cookie had been a part of so many deceptions, she could see through anything Alex might come up with. Cookie was out of Alex's league, but Alex was not the pushover she once was. After all, she had learned from the master, and she knew that even when you are cornered, you never apologize and concede. You stand your ground and fight for your lie to the end. Especially for this lie. She would not give an inch. She insisted, "I don't even think Lex knew what he was shooting at, and just worried that he might be shooting at Kara. They didn't see Kara because she was driving with the headlight off." "How did you know Kara was even out there?" Cookie insisted. "And yes, we did know where Lex was shooting. He was shooting at the sky. You know it and I know it, but that's not even the most important thing. How did Kara know what Lex said in the van? If you're gonna lie, at least think it through." "Kara didn't know what Lex said," Alex said with a straight face. "I'm the one who told the cops what Lex was talking about." She piled on the lies, hoping that repeating the lies enough would make Cookie doubt her own memory. She knew her arguments were falling apart, so she tried to shut the conversation down with, "I'm tired of arguing. I don't even know what you think happened. You sound insane." Cookie laughed. Clearly insulted by the rapidly disintegrating web of lies, then she looked at Kara, who could not meet her gaze. "Damn it, Kara," thought Alex. "Why are you so bad at lying when you have the biggest secret around?" But Kara's strategy of just being shy and quiet was working better than Alex's strategy of contradicting obvious problems with their story. At least Kara wasn't confronting Cookie, and maybe for that reason, Cookie held off on attacking her.
"Just stop it,"
Eric finally interrupted. He had been quiet until then, but now his patience was done.
"I'm sick of your lies, and I'm sick of her lies. Everybody's lying. All I know is that Lena is gone, and we're just standing here doing nothing, and the big guy is still stuck in Korea."
The cops had told them that North Korea was now threatening Japan, who the Koreans blamed for causing their tragic fire. But Alex knew the crisis was Lex's doing, as he hoped to keep Superman on the other side of the world. "Well, there's nothing we can do," Alex insisted. "We just have to let the police and FBI handle that." Eric gave Alex the evil eye, challenging her, but when Alex wouldn't give in, he looked to Kara instead.
"Is there really nothing we can do?"
Kara could barely meet his stare, and Alex knew her sister would cave in a moment, so she stepped between them. "We already did as much as we can," Alex said. "We told the cops everything we know, and the FBI is already on their way to the Launch Control Center. They'll stop Luther from doing anything."
"When they talked to me, they didn't seem too concerned about Lena,"
Eric said sadly.
"They didn't even seem worried about anyone in the launch center. They were only worried about stopping those missiles from being launched. That federal guy said that every other concern is secondary. I think they're gonna go in guns blazing."
Cookie nodded. "When they grilled me, they obviously thought that Lena might be as bad as Lex. I don't think they're going to try very hard to help her." Now Alex felt cornered, being attacked on both sides. "Well, I don't know what you want for us to do about it. We're just high school students." Now Eric and Cookie both stared at Kara, and Cookie said, "Really? I think at least one of us is much more than that." "Now wait a second," Alex began, again stepping between Cookie and Kara, trying to protect her sister. "No, she's right," Kara finally said. "Kara, don't," Alex pleaded. Kara looked at the ground, appearing depressed, not wanting to disobey Alex, and that made Alex feel very guilty. But Cookie finally stopped beating around the bush and confronted Kara directly. "I know you are special. You have some kind of abilities," she said. "Don't deny it." "People could get hurt, so please don't tell anyone," Kara pleaded. "But I am from Krypton." Alex closed her eyes. No matter how friendly Cookie had seemed today, she was the last person Alex trusted with this secret. Cookie nodded. "I kind of figured that." "Okay, so now you know," Alex conceded angrily. "It doesn't change anything. Kara doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing."
"She did pretty well saving us earlier,"
Eric countered. "She almost got killed," Alex reminded. "I will not let her go out and try to save Lena alone."
"Who said anything about alone?"
Eric said with determination. "I'll help if I can," Cookie added, mirroring Eric's expression. "And why would you do that?" Alex asked doubtfully, but she was finding it increasingly difficult to deny that something was different with Cookie. She just couldn't figure out what or why. "Lena was my friend," Cookie said casually, but then she swallowed as the significance of what she was saying slowly hit her. "Lena is my friend." "Then we have to help her," Kara finally declared. "But how?" Alex sighed. She couldn't fight them all. Eliza was going to be so pissed at her for letting this happen. They had a goal, save Lena, but they did not have a plan. That did not stop them from moving forward. The first step in any plan was finding a ride. Kara could fly, but if they were all going to be a part of this harebrained rescue, they needed a car. Fortunately, Cookie's parents had a third car in their garage that was used only for special occasions. So the army of 4 teens marched to Cookie's house and prepared for battle. Alex did a little research on Cookie's computer while Cookie gathered a supply of energy bars and bottled water. Kara raided Cookie's wardrobe for something to replace her torn rags. She settled on a gorgeous dark blue dress that showed very little skin, but it fit like second skin. This was hardly a battle uniform, but the dress would make her nearly invisible when flying by night. She was caught admiring herself in the mirror, and both Cookie and Alex fussed over her. "Wow," Alex said adoringly. "It's totally you," Cookie agreed. "It's yours if it survives the night. And here, take this wig so that nobody will recognize you." Kara smiled and posed in the mirror. She liked the way she looked with black hair, and somehow, in this dress, even her boobs looked perfect. For the first time when she looked in the mirror, she didn't feel that sense of doubt that always crept in.
"Very pretty,"
Eric approved in his understated way. Then he added, anxiously,
"But we don't have time for this."
Kara smiled, then she pushed her vanity aside. "Sorry, let's do this." They closed up the house and opened the garage door. They all gawked at the lights of the street lamps glistening on the well-polished car within. Unfortunately, the car at their disposal was a silver convertible 2005 Porsche 911, which posed several problems, least of which was the trouble Cookie was going to get into for even touching her dad's toy. First of all, while the car was beautiful, it was also conspicuous, and keeping a low profile would be nearly impossible. Secondly, Alex was the only person in the car with even a learner's permit, and the only car she ever drove before was an anemic Ford Focus. Finally, the only way to cram 4 passengers into the sporty toy was if 2 people sat sideways in the back, with one person in the other's lap. A debate began of who would be able to ride shotgun and which 2 would be stuck in the nearly intimate conditions in the back. Alex felt cursed, being the only person who could drive, or the choice would have been obvious. Ultimately, it was decided that Kara would sit on Eric's lap and Cookie would join Alex in front. When Alex pulled out of Cookie's driveway, she unintentionally left a streak of rubber in the road. Alex wasn't sure if she did it out of frustration or if the car was just too powerful for her to handle. Then, a few short roads away, Alex hit a speed bump without even thinking to slow down. The car bounced several inches into the air. Kara and Eric squealed in surprise in the back, and Cookie flashed Alex an angry look. "Sorry," Alex said. Cookie shrugged, her anger already gone, and she turned her head towards the rear. "How are you doing back there?"
"A little bruised after that one," Eric said. "But we're getting to know each other a little better."
Kara giggled. "Just keep your hands off the merchandise," Alex chided playfully.
"Oh, sure,"
Eric replied, as if she was asking for the impossible. "How about some music?" Cookie suggested. Then she turned on the radio. She skipped through the stations, bouncing from commercial to commercial, until she finally stumbled upon an indie station playing a song by 3 Doors Down that coincidentally they all loved, and seemed oh so appropriate. At first, they merely tapped their feet or hummed along until someone gained the courage to sing a word or two, and before long, they were all singing with the confidence and talent of someone singing in the shower, and the 4 flawed voices somehow seemed perfect when singing together. The music also seemed to help Alex tame the metal beast under their asses. She felt like she had graduated from learner to professional racer, despite the fact that several drivers were passing her on the highway. "You're really getting the hang of it," Cookie complimented. "Thanks," Alex replied, pleased, but this was no time for her to be enjoying herself. "Do you know how far Long Beach is from here?" "Yeah, my family goes there sometimes," Cookie replied. "I think we have at least another hour to go, but I have no idea where this launch control is." Yeah, I couldn't find it on the net. Maybe we just need to look for the police lights when we get there, Alex said, minimizing the challenge ahead of them. Cookie smiled at Alex, then started to sing along to a new song that just started on the radio. Alex smiled awkwardly, then stared back at the road ahead, determined to be a safe driver, but also avoiding eye contact with Cookie. She felt weird. Wrong. She was actually getting along with Cookie, and she wasn't sure how to feel about that, but she wasn't sure if it was a bad thing. She had to admit that Cookie was being very helpful, more helpful than she ever remembered her being when they had been official friends. Perhaps the difference was that they had a common goal, a real life or death kind of situation. Did that mean that she could trust her now? She gripped the steering wheel and shifted in her seat. She was feeling much more comfortable now behind the wheel. When she had first started the car back in Cookie's driveway, the vibrations of the engine and the explosive acceleration made her tentative and nervous. But now, the vibrations filled her with excitement. She was feeling much more confident now, more forgiving, more energetic yet more relaxed, and so much warmer. After a run of songs on the radio, the sound volume jumped as some celebrity started talking about the benefits of some new diet product, and Cookie dutifully pressed buttons to escape from commercial hell. A few seconds of jazz and a couple of guitar riffs from Pink Floyd, and finally settling on Justin Timberlake singing My Love. Alex flashed Cookie a curious eye. She knew for a fact that Cookie was not a Timberlake fan, yet Cookie was sitting there, eyes closed, face flushed, head bobbing and rubbing her thighs. Alex laughed because it seemed absurd, but when Cookie started singing along, Alex joined in without a second thought. She knew she was singing poorly. She was feeling hot and anxious and holding tightly to the stick shift, even though the car was on automatic. Cookie's voice was trailing off, leaving Alex singing alone. It was then when she realized that she hadn't heard from Kara and Eric for a while. In fact, she hadn't heard a peep from them since the first song had ended, so Alex glanced at the rearview mirror. She had to look twice to be sure of what she saw happening in the back seat. Then, she hit the brakes a little too hard, startling everyone as the car skidded to a stop on the side of the road. "What the?" Cookie started, her face a mix of heat and shock. Alex took a few deep breaths, collected herself, then she turned her head to face the back seats and ordered, "Okay, everyone out." After a moment of collecting themselves and a few contortions, everyone climbed out of the car on the side of the highway. Cookie appeared bewildered, while Kara and Eric stared at the ground in obvious embarrassment and exhibiting clear signs of sexual excitement, and an aura seemed to glow around them. "Okay, Kara will sit in the front from now on, or we're not going anywhere," Alex demanded, literally putting her foot down hard. "What the hell is going on?" Cookie asked, more confused than angry. Alex threw her hands up in surrender, not caring now how many secrets Cookie knew anymore. "Kara is not the only person here with special abilities," Alex disclosed. Cookie wondered if she would ever get used to these surprises. When she had learned that her best friend was the telepathic sister of her family's deadly enemy, she could barely handle it. Then only today, she found out that Kara was a superhuman, and that posed as many questions as it had answered. But learning about Eric's ability really messed her up. In fact, it was life-changing. That was because she didn't just learn about Eric's ability, she had experienced it. It had taken her over, invaded her heart, and stole her reason. And she didn't even know it was happening. Reason told her that she should feel violated, just as violated as when Andy raped her in her sleep, or when Lex's lackey had felt her up in the van. But she didn't feel violated at all. She had warm feelings today like she had never felt before. She had even cried today, and she hadn't cried in years. She had always felt like something was missing inside of her, some ability to feel. But now, those feelings were there, and that was because of Eric. So she didn't feel violated, but she was confused. Her emotions had been tossing around like juggler's pins, but she had assumed that the struggle was within her own psyche. Those feelings felt as genuine as any of her own. She had thought she was discovering what it meant to be a real friend and what it meant to be intimate. But maybe she wasn't discovering anything. Maybe all of the new feelings she was discovering were merely the reflection of what was going on inside Eric. Would those feelings remain when he wasn't around? And maybe, in turn, this usually creepy boy owed his warm feelings to the charming, pheromone-charged Supergirl that had entered his life. Did the source of feelings have anything to do with their authenticity? Cookie suddenly understood what had happened in that biology classroom. She had always thought it was simply a pure display of crude sexuality, and she never quite understood why almost everyone involved was drawn to Kara like bees to honey, and why people bent over backward to defend her. But it wasn't just Kara. It wasn't only her sexuality that had captivated them. It was Eric's love for her that moved them, and then it became their love for her. Now, Cookie knew the same feeling. The feeling didn't seem corrupt or fake or dirty. It felt genuine, even if the feeling didn't originate within her. In fact, it felt more genuine than any of her real feelings, maybe because she could sense that everyone else around her was also feeling it. It connected her intimately with the people around her. The feeling had filled her with goodwill. Yes, she was tickled sexually, but she had never experienced it in this way before. It was expansive, socially expansive, like cheering in a crowd watching a home run, or being in a church where everyone was singing with abandon, or marching with friends in a parade. It was exhilarating. And finally, that connection they had felt towards Kara made a lot of sense to Cookie, who had lived most of her life starving for such feelings. Today, she was tasting the crumbs that Kara and Eric dropped on the ground behind them. Then a few minutes ago, she joined them for a meal. Now she had a taste of that, and now she knew that the feelings did not come from within her, but from other people. She couldn't let those people get away. Was this the start of a growing friendship, Cookie wondered, or was it just the start of an addiction? The rest of the ride to Long Beach was awkward, though quite pleasant, and everyone felt more comfortable driving in silence, now that all the secrets were laid bare. Kara and Alex sat in the front seats, re-establishing the proper order of things, holding hands and snuggling, while Eric and Cookie watched them from the back seat. Cookie sat on the left, in the back in a yoga pose, with her legs folded beneath her, and Eric sat sideways on the right, with his bare feet on her lap. Cookie closed her eyes as if in a meditative state, and she let Eric's feelings invade her mind. It was a pleasant experience. His feelings were much milder now, not strong enough to submerge her own feelings beneath them, but if she cleared her mind, she could feel the gentle waves of emotion splash against her. His suspicion of her was fading, she sensed, while warm feelings for her were taking their place. She wondered how much of that had to do with his legs resting on her lap, or maybe he was just imagining that Cookie was Kara. Maybe Kara's pheromones were still affecting him from the front seat. Before now, his feelings for Cookie had always been understandably harsh, so it was no wonder that he had always seemed creepy to her. But it was completely different now. When he was calm, his power was much less threatening than Lena's. In fact, Cookie felt at peace like she had never felt before. She was beginning to realize how lucky she was to have such special friends. Cookie had lived most of her life feeling alone. She had always surrounded herself with allies and acquaintances, but she could never really sense or trust their feelings. And when she opened up to them, they never understood her feelings. Then Lena came along, and she knew exactly how Cookie was feeling. That scared Cookie for a long time. And now Eric is in the picture, and she knew exactly how he felt, And he knew how she felt because they were in the same feelings. Now, with that knowledge in common, it was a very peaceful experience. Cookie felt a wave of anxiety make her shiver, followed by a wave of longing, but for what, she wasn't sure. She found her answer in Eric's face. Cookie could tell that Eric was thinking of Lena, and thinking of her in danger was very upsetting to him. It was upsetting to them all. Then, suddenly, an idea popped into Cookie's mind, fully formed. "I think I know how we can save Lena," Cookie said. "But you might not like it."